Hello and welcome to Warframe. My name's Todd, also known as Majamek, and this is, of course, Warframe. Last time we left off in the Fortuna storyline, just starting to help Utico get Vox Solaris back up and running. It's been a week, of course, since the last video, and not a whole lot has happened. The new round of Tenogen just came out, which is the user or content created by users that they've added to the game. There is currently a Black Friday sale because it is just after Thanksgiving. Happy belated Thanksgiving. And there is some hot fixes that just came out a while back. I believe one of the recent hot fixes, I don't know if it was specifically that one, but made the enemies in the Orb Valis a little bit easier for us lower level players, so that's good. Kind of evened them out. I believe it was anything below level 30 tends to be a little bit easier, so we're going to come over to our foundry though. We're going to pick up our catalyst, and I think we're good there. Oh, I thought in one part I said I was going to make the dread, but I never actually started it, so I'm going to start it. Oh, that's right, it was mastery rank. That's what we needed. Every time I click on it, I'm like, oh, that's right. Well, we're getting there. You might notice that we have a new weapon on our back. We've got the Galantine all ready to go. So the major reason why we've swapped it out immediately is because compared to the Heat Sword or the Skana, it does a lot more damage. So the Galantine is definitely a better option in my eyes compared to the other two. It will just pretty much destroy the other two. Currently we don't have a whole lot modded onto it. We just have Shocking Touch. But we do have a catalyst installed, so as it levels up, we'll be able to get a whole lot more on there. I did manage to get my hands on a lethal torrent in between parts. I pretty much did that alert. I did have enough time, thankfully, to do it, so we got lethal torrent on our secondary. And I can talk about that a little bit. So Lethal Torrent is one of the few multi-shot mods. It does also have fire rate on it, which is great for weapons that are still firing, but the major part is it's multi-shot. So multi-shot in Warframe is kind of effectively stating that it turns every weapon in Warframe into like a shotgun. You might notice if I take it off, my fire rate goes down, but also status, and a lot of my damage just kind of disappears. So fire rate mods specifically, not fire rates, but multi-shot mods specifically add more projectiles to your weapons. Effectively, for every 100% multi-shot you add to a weapon, you gain one extra projectile. So if I fire through one kunai, for instance, I have a 30% chance of getting an additional kunai to be thrown, which is what adds the extra bit of damage and status. That effectively just means that more chances to proc a status, and it's more damage if you actually get a second kunai off. Now, the damage it shows in the window here is the average damage for 30% chance. It is not a guaranteed damage upgrade. So don't assume just because you put a multi-shot mod on, you're going to get that damage for certain. It's just trying to mathematically determine if you have a 30% chance of getting it. So let's say 1 in 3 shots, then every 1 in 3 shots would give you an average of about that amount of damage. If that makes any sense. If it doesn't, you can always check out the Warframe wiki for a more in-depth explanation on multi-shot. Overall, multi-shot is fantastic on pretty much every single weapon. If you have a multi-shot mod on, or if you have multi-shot, you pretty much will want to, if you have a multi-shot mod, that is, you want to put it on your weapons. The only weapons that don't have multi-shot mods, of course, are melee weapons. If you're not throwing those, you're not really able to get more shots out of that. But I suppose with weapons like glaives, maybe you would be able to. That's maybe discussion for the future, if they ever decide to add those types of mods to Warframe. Alright, let's just join 23. That'll do us. We're going to jump back into Fortuna, of course, try to finish off the quest line, talk about the NPCs a little bit, and that'll pretty much conclude us, I think. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about NPCs if we're actually able to finish the quest line here, because there's lots to talk about, same as there was with Cetus, of course. I didn't really have a chance when we were in Cetus to talk a lot about Zaws, because there's so much like in-depth stuff about that, but I might go back and talk more about that once we reach near the end of the game, because that's when it will truly be more impactful. Oh, lag. Lots of lag. That guy's name's great.
You will witness Orokin terraforming technology, expanding the more quickly than you could possibly imagine. Making available land for new opportunities.
I think we've already heard him talk about this, so I'm just going to head over to Utico and we're going to figure out what's going on.
Sparky, Solaris United's just getting started. Neff won't want us messing with his investor showcase. He's planted that orb mother out there to make sure we stay in here. But now is the time to press for leverage. Head to the surface when you're ready. I've arranged a little something for you.
Something very nice is waiting on the surface for us, so as a new player, this part is pretty awesome. Getting your hands on what we're about to get our hands on.
Personal K-drive. Fastest board in the Valors. See if you can't slip right past that spider mama.
Welcome to K-Drives. I'm sure a lot of you have already done this quest and already seen it, but for those of you who haven't, we're pretty much going to be hoverboarding our way through this. I'm going to try to show off that I've learned a little bit about these hoverboards and how they work. I'll talk a little bit about how they work too, how you can kind of get the most out of them as we go through here, but we also will want to complete our mission. If this elevator ever reaches the top. Criminies. The loading here is taking a long time. Oh, frame rate's dipping a little bit. But that's kind of to be expected. It happens with these loading screens. And we freeze. There we go. Come on. There we go. The door will open here in a second. Fantastic. So our K-drive's right in front of us. We gotta make it past that spider taker. Press E to mount our vehicle, or whatever your action key is. So you can press Shift to boost. Oh, crap, it needs to slow down. It's real bad. Press Shift to boost, or whatever your sprint key is. I'm doing some tricks here, but that's just mainly what I do. You can jump, of course, with whatever your jump key is, minus space. Because we have sprint toggle on, or at least I do, boost is toggled, so I don't have to hold down the sprint, thankfully. If you jump, you can hold jump to charge a jump, and you'll jump higher, which then you can press, as I did there, right mouse button to do a trick, or you can press space. The right mouse button, of course, allows you to do a whole myriad of tricks, which is all awesome stuff, by pressing the directional keys. Whatever you use to move around, that is. Or you can just do some basic compters with space. Your score multiplier in the bottom right there is upgraded depending on doing different tricks. So you notice I got a nice trick right there thanks to doing a copter, then a forward roll with the right mouse button and another copter. So you want to interlace different tricks in between each other. Another thing you can do with the good old K-drive is you can grind. Yeah, so not only is there massive grinding in Warframe, now there's a different type of grinding. We're going to try and grind on this here. And there we go. So you activate grinding by pressing your control or C key for me, which is my crouch key, whatever you have done to crouch. And then you deactivate it by pressing crouch again. Grinding is a great way to get lots and lots of points or score. It allows you to effectively up your score multiplier, and I'll show that off when we come back around, but that's a basic introduction to the K-drive. It is, of course, much faster than average walking when you're boosting, so go ahead and use it. It's fun stuff. This will be unlocked for use after this mission, to pretty much use whenever you want, so yeah, fun skateboard times. Let's just show off a bit. And these railings here can be grinded on.
If you want one, see Roki when this is all over. Right now, we got a job to do.
Alright. So you can pretty much explore, have fun times.
Time to give Neff a taste of repossession. Patch me into the cooling tower's control system.
To get off, you of course just use your action key. I think melee also works. Note, when entering your K-drive or getting onto your K-drive, all of your buffs, such as Rhino Iron Skin, that would otherwise make you immune to statuses will be removed, so just be aware of that. Though it only seems to work with some buffs, and I'm not entirely certain why. I think that might be a glitch, but I'm not positive on that. It would be much more preferable if...
Engineers, what's going on down there? I've lost control of the coolant tower. The investors are watching. Acknowledge.
You never had control, Nathaniel. This tower is Solaris United property. We deal with it as we please.
You weasels picked the wrong day for collective bargaining. Corpus kill squads, converge on the control cluster at once. Investors, everything is under control.
Let's turn up the heat on Neff.
Are you freeloaders trying to damage my coolant tower? Oh, of course, all your groveling has moved the bleed-hard Tenno to come to your aid. No matter, my kill squads will carry you all swiftly to the void.
You have been warned. Say goodbye to your precious terraforming project.
Investors! Enjoy this display of security prowess. Rest assured your investment is protected.
So I'm trying to show off the Galantine here. Of course it is very slow because we don't have any mods that would increase its melee speed, but it is massively damaging, as you can see, just cutting down these guys in 1 or 2 hits. That is, if I can actually manage to hit them. There will be some weapons later on which we can get, which are much quicker, and still do the same sort of thing, which, as you can see, would be really nice.
Solaris United, in the name of the Void, I command you to stop. You're putting my entire enterprise at risk!
Stop the repossessions. Acknowledge our work. Honor the age-old accord between Solaris and Corpus.
Blow that power, and you'll destroy Fortuna.
Your fortune is what dies with us, Nathaniel. And we know that to men like you, poverty holds a greater dread than death.
I'm sure you can notice as well that we're just doing ridiculous amounts more damage to these guys, even with our Galantine, or Boldor in particular.
Wait. Fine. I'll halt the repossessions. Is that what you want? Stop this.
Never forget, Solaris make the Valors work. No Solaris, no Valors. Do we have an understanding?
Yes. I understand.
All I needed to hear. Sparky, drop the Amarast in. Fingers crossed this even works.
And we will do just that, completing Joker's plan here.
Investors, please! I swear! The system works. This is just a minor hiccup. Some minor labor relation issues to deal with. Understand, right? Right? Where are you going?
The heat cascade is dissipating. Readings returning to normal. That did it. Well then, Sparky. Looks like SU is back. Only a matter of time. If it wasn't me, someone else would have done it. Meanwhile, you come see me anytime. Solaris United's got plenty of work for you.
I feel like I was going to say something before they started talking, but I completely forgot what it was. Yeah. So you can always find your K drive when you're using it by the little blue dot on the map. Very simple. You can pretty much use it to scale mountains like you would with, for instance, a Skyrim horse. But it's also just great for getting around. It's very entertaining. I wish people would use it in the bounties, but people tend to use their arc wings in bounties. Because, I don't know if I've talked about it before, of course you can later on in the game get the arc wing launcher segment for being able to use your arc wing in these bounties for the Orb Dallas and the Plains of Eidolon. But I believe that completes our tour through the quest to the Fortuna. We've successfully stopped Nefanyo's repossessions for the time being. Perhaps in the future we'll have to take more drastic measures to prevent him from continuing his nefarious ways. That was a really bad pun, I'm sorry. I feel bad. Alright. Let's go chat with Yutiko, and then we'll start talking with some of the other NPCs around. Where are we sitting at time-wise? Yeah, we're sitting at a good amount of time. And there we are, Vox Solaris. Reward is our K-Drive launcher. Oh, that whistling. Good stuff. And so, that is the main quest line for Fortuna for the moment. We can of course go in and equip our K-Drive launcher by going into our arsenal and then to our gear wheel. And we'll throw our K-Drive launcher on... Do you want it on that? Yeah, we'll go with that. I'm going to take the K, so the K-Drive launcher will be in your gear, it'll be right there. This will effectively activate the basic Bondi K-Drive that we just got. I will also show off the K-Drive NPCs here in a moment. I'm just going to move all my stuff over. We don't need that remote observer right there. Let's throw in ciphers instead. We'll throw the remote observer at the end. There it is. Alright, cool. And then effectively you open up your gear wheel or push whatever you've keybounds to your K-Drive and it will summon it out in either the Plains of Eidolon or Ballas. It can only be used in those two areas, sadly. Man, I'd love to use it in normal missions. Now that we've completed that, we can talk with Yutiko to see our Solaris United standing.
We don't got much, but what we have...
Effectively,
we can talk.
We need to get bonds, debt bonds, to upgrade our standing. Plus, we have to get the actual reputation and credits, of course. So you can get standing by doing bounties the same way you would in the Plains of Eidolon. You can see which bounties give how much reputation. They've changed effectively the layout of these bounty screens, so they're much easier to see what you can get and how you can get it. If you're just starting out the game, or if you're not very confident in your loadouts yet, I would highly suggest you stick below these two here, the 5 to 10, 15 and 10 to 30. As I stated, enemies over level 30 tend to be much tougher. They're about the same level of toughness that the previous enemies were at when I failed that mission, so just be aware of that. If you want to get a closer look at what the rewards are for the missions, you can right click them to see the reward details. You can also see your daily standing here. This bar will go down as you get your daily standing, so right now we could get 5,000 standing, but you know, as we get more it'll go down. So you can get Zap bonds by doing the bounties. You can also get them in another way, which I will show off here in a second. You can also begin to get Garuda's parts from bounties. So if you did not purchase Garuda, the Warframe, you can get her parts from doing the Orb Valis bounties. You can also currently get the unvaulted Nova Prime and Mag Prime parts from the relics of the Orb Valis bounties. So definitely profitable to do bounties in Orb Valis.
Sue's voices told her you'd be useful to me. Don't leave me thinking my best friend ain't right in the brain case. Take the job.
So, the other NPCs, of course, we can talk to are Zood. Since Yutiko mentioned her, we'll go straight to her first. This is Rude Zood.
Oh, it's you. Yes, yes, they're here. I do not like your attitude. You. I am Zood. Kick guns are what we do. Bring parts or purchase Chatter's daily design. Just do it quickly. I have people skills. I am very skilled in getting them to leave.
Zood may not be 100% right in the head, but that's okay because she makes amazing guns. So kit guns are of course a secondary weapon which you can create the same way you would create a Zaw. We can browse her wares real quick to see what we can purchase. Currently, right now, I would not purchase anything just because I know that the two best or two of the best parts you can get are just in the next level of reputation, which is very easy to get. The Haymaker and the Gibber are great for making kit guns, so we're not going to worry about purchasing anything, but effectively you can create a kit gun out of parts,
Sure.
which we will show off here in a
Just
second.
jump the counter and make them buy something.
So you make a kit gun out of a chamber, a grip, and a loader. Chambers include the Catch Moon, the Gaze, the Rattle Guts, and the Tomb Finger. Somewhat similar to Zaws, I'm sure in the future we'll have more options, but that's our options for the moment. There's grips, of course, and as I said, the Haymaker and the Gibber tend to be very good parts, so I'd highly suggest getting your hands on some of those. And there's just a ton of loaders. I'm not going to go into massively what ones are the best currently. Personal favorites, I will state, as I tested them on my other account, I really like the Catch Moon
Until
and
you
Tomb
got
Finger.
here and jammed up my day.
You can, of course, in this screen here,
Feel like.
in this screen here, you can preview
Sure. Why not?
options. So if I wanted to say test on whether or not I thought something looked good, I could go like this and see what it looks like. And later on, once you reach the rank of Doer with Solaris United, you can guild your weapons, your kit guns specifically, and your and another item we'll see here in just a moment. And it'll increase their stats and make them just far better all around. Even without it, though, I'd say that the Tomb Finger is actually a great weapon just to have, even ungilded. As you can see, it just does a lot of damage. So who knows? Maybe we'll work towards that. You can also order today's special for Platinum.
Do what? This one? Very well, very well.
So today's special is a pre-made
Outworker,
item.
Kit gun. Buy it. Chatter tells me this is intended for you.
And effectively, the price here is what it would be. It does come pre-gilded, as you can see. It also comes, I think, with an Orokin Catalyst installed. So that's all very nice. Not bad for the price. If you see something really great and you just want to buy it right then and there, that's not too bad. Other services include gilding, of course. Gilding enhances the stats, but again, you can only do this once you've reached the rank of Doer with Solaris United. You can also provide kit guns, so say you don't like your kit gun that you built, you can provide it to Zood here, and she'll give you standing based on what you built. You can also entitle a secondary weapon with Zood, so you can change the name of any secondary weapon in the entire game for 15 platinum. Not too bad all around. Zood's pretty awesome, and those kit guns are pretty great. So it's just a nice feature that they added, and yeah. So we're going to ride our little elevator here up to the next person we're going to want to talk to. Ticker.
Well, well, look at you, a Tenno. Fine, kind, and benign. Ticker can spot an ambidexter a block away. And Stardust, you ain't it. So listen, and listen tight. My real line is debt forgiveness. Charity. You buy some poor rig jockey's debt, and they sidestep brain shelving. Every sinner's a winner. Now, I'd appreciate you keeping this little old conversation to yourself. And when I ask you for help, you look me in my baby blues and say, yes.
So, the purpose of Ticker is that she, of course, sells debt bonds. So you can purchase debt bonds from Ticker for a number of items and a number of credits. So if you're trying to get a specific type of bonds, definitely check with Ticker first. She sells every type of bond that you would need. Great for advancing reputation, and she also trades debt bonds for other things.
When you can.
So Ticker's secondhand.
Ticker don't do retail, so let me know what you find.
So Ticker effectively has the option to give you items for your lander. These are decoration items, of course, for debt bonds. So if you wanted to decorate your lander with some cool stuff, you can purchase it with debt bonds here. You can also trade bonds for Solaris standing. So if you wanted to get, if you had an excess amount of bonds in one type and you wanted some standing, you can trade them in.
Another time.
And I love her character. Fantastic. Alright, so the next person we can talk to, of course, is someone we've talked to in the past, the business. Business, of course, has the wares for all sorts of hunting and gathering of animals and conservation. The business offers you up trank rifles, Pauper's echo lures to begin with, the shock prod fishing spear, and some broad spectrum bait. Later on, as you go along, you'll get the option to get more baits and more lures. The trank rifle and the echo lures relates to the new type of hunting that you can do, or I should say conservation that you can do in the Orbalis, which is you trank animals and you save them from going extinct. That offers a special reward, which we'll look at with the business here in a moment, but of course you've also got fishing. Fishing in Orbalis is different than in Plains of Eidolon, though. You have the option to get servo fish, and you can only get servo fish by using shock rod fishing spears, or specifically the fishing spears bought from the business. Otherwise, you will damage the fish that you would the servo fish that you'd be attempting to get. Damaged servo fish do still offer value, but they are less value than non-damaged servo fish. So if you're trying to do some fishing in the Orbalis, definitely pick up a fishing spear right away.
Maybe later then.
Today's special, of course, is just the parts and pieces that you can purchase from the servo fish for platinum if you needed them. There's also providing servo fish, so if we had some, we could provide them to the business. For standing, we can dismantle servo fish, which gets us the same parts as you'd find in the special, depending on what type of servo fish we have, or we could trade tags. So when you complete good old-fashioned conservation, the business will give you tags, and these tags are used to purchase floofs, which are like little plushies that you can put in your orbiter and have tons of fun with. You can also get an Orbalis conservation emblem, which is just cool all around. These are a really nice and hilarious little addition to Warframe, so I like that a lot. I'll try and show off some of this stuff as time goes on, but currently don't think I'm going to have enough time just explaining all this stuff about all the different NPCs we can talk to here. So, Yutiko talked about Smokefinger before, and this is our good buddy Smokefinger.
I am Smokefinger, antiquarian, historian, and now, through a bewildering series of circumstances, an avid geophile. That is to say, I am interested in soil and all the things that may be found in it. Let me show you what I mean.
So our good buddy Smokefinger is effectively the miner of Orbalis. His wares include different patterns to create gemstones, which you can use for crafting the kit guns. And the other thing, which you'll get to hear in just a moment, the one thing that should definitely be noted is that you can buy a mining laser from Smokefinger here, the Sunpoint Plasma Drill, which is effectively the same level as the highest level mining laser from Crimini's the Plains Vitalon. So effectively, if you had spent a lot of time to get the reputation from Cetus, that's what I was looking for, Cetus, and gotten the best drill from Cetus, it would be only comparable to the Sunpoint Plasma Drill. So if you're trying to get a good drill, don't even worry about Cetus. Go straight to Orbalis, get the Sunpoint Plasma Drill. It has all the functions of the best one you can get from Cetus, and it's only 2,500 reputation. And you can get it right away. So they did change mining in the Fortuna update, which I will show off here in a bit. Again, not this part. Hopefully in the future we'll probably do a bounty or two trying to get some reputation so we can level up our reputation and get some of these items that we need for conservation and other stuff. Today's special, of course, includes all the things you could get usually from the Orbalis. Refined, of course, so for platinum, pretty much what you'd expect. You can also trade gems for standing. Pretty standard stuff, and that's how it goes with Smokefinger.
I bid you the warmest of farewell.
So our last good buddy over here is Legs.
What? Don't recognize me? It's Thursby! Look what Biz and Utico put together. Top shelf parts. Not just that, Biz gave me enough spare stock to start my own shop. Legs, pets, and parts. That's my new name, Legs. Don't call me Thursby no more. I've got a new body, new store, new hook, new name. Come back anytime, and Legs will build you a mower just for you.
So our good buddy Legs here allows us to build MOAs. So MOAs work like Zaw or Kit Gun companions. We can build them out of parts.
Gonna need some parts before we have this
and
conversation.
effectively that's pretty much what you can do. So there's lots of different options here. We could just put one together, for instance, real quick. We'll go with that, and we'll go with that, and you can see what your pet is. So the major thing to note about MOAs, and the only thing I'm really going to talk about, because we're not going to focus on them for some time, though they are fantastic pets to have, is this part here, the top part of the model. What type of MOA is defined as is kind of the most important part. So the Lambio MOA specifically focuses on defense. The Orloro MOA, had to sound that one out, Orloro MOA focuses on utility, which is things like spy missions and just kind of oddities. And then you have the Para MOA, which focuses on attack, or more of like crowd control. Truthfully, it's not a very high damaging MOA, but it does deal with crowds very good. Out of these three MOA options so far, the one that I think is the best is the Lambio MOA. That's just a personal preference though. You can of course see the different stats. The core and the gyro change the health, shields, and armor of your MOA. Currently, I think this is the best setup I've found so far. It's possible this will change in the future, but it's pretty good. Even gilded, you got a ton of armor, good amount of health, and health can be improved a lot later on. So I like this setup for a MOA, and they're pretty great. So MOAs, the major thing about them is they use Sentinel mods for like their utility, and they use Kubro and Kavat mods for their defense. So they're very, very good companions to get, even early on. So yeah, all good stuff all around. You can see the parts you can get here. It'll take Outworlder, which is just the next rank up, to be able to unlock some of the cooler stuff, but you'll pretty much be able to build a Lambio MOA right away, which is quite nice. There are some weapons down here which you can use for your MOA. They are Sentinel weapons, which you can equip either on a Sentinel or a MOA. But I don't really think, from what I've seen, that they're all that great. So I wouldn't really focus on getting old made specifically for them.
Just here for the show.
You can of course see today's
A sleek
special.
little freak, take a peek, step on up, critique this physique. Handmade, hand-designed, one of a kind, for today only, seriously chic.
And there's our little MOA. So of course it's randomized what the daily special is, as the saws, kit guns, and pretty much everything else you can imagine that has a daily special, and that's just what it is. You can purchase it for platinum. I'm pretty sure it comes with a catalyst installed and gilded already, so that's all nice stuff. Other services include gilding your MOA, which you can only do at the rank of doer. So if you really didn't want to get to the rank of doer right away, you could of course buy them with platinums. That's an option. You can provide a MOA and trade them for standing, depending on what you built them out of, or entitle them, renaming your MOA to whatever you'd like. So that's all cool stuff that our good buddy Legs here does. Legs, formerly known as Thursby. So there is one last shop that we can go talk to currently, and it is right up here. So this little vent right here, excuse me, with this marking here allows us to enter the clubhouse. If we go in, we meet the event kids.
Need a plank? Parts? Talking primo cake? We vent kids. No mumsy dadsy for us. No biological kin. Just our logical kin. This is me logical bro, Boone. He runs the Kubradons, scores the parts. I run the vent pobbers. We make the boards. You buying? Need a plank? Once a cycle, I got something dog. Best prices too, Glitty. Mates rates, check.
I have no idea what type of like accent that is, or what type of like slang that comes from, or what place that slang comes from, but I find it really funny, just because it just doesn't sound right in its own right. But that's alright. So the Vent Kids are of course the K-Drive builders of Fortuna. They have a reputation which you can gather by doing cool, sick tricks out on the Orbelis. The score that you get for the tricks that you do, of course, adds a reputation to the Vent Kids standing. The only thing you need to up your reputation with the Vent Kids is just the reputation itself. The offerings that they have, of course, are K-Drive parts, mods, and that's all they really do. So it takes a good amount of time to get to the logical rank. I'm still not there yet personally, and some of this stuff is pretty cool. Like you can see some of it's like gravity reduction while you're using K-Drive. You can have heat trails, K-Drive magnetism, things like that. But of course the major thing is that you can build your own K-Drive out of the parts. So your K-Drive can be assembled from
I need
the
something to work with.
Vent Kids right here, and you can use just pretty much all the different parts.
Yeah, okay.
We'll just assemble one that I kind of like. That's effectively a board that I kind of think it looks cool. You've got the needle nose, hothead, ring nut, and fat boys, and then you can see what it gives stat-wise. Note these stats do not change depending on the parts that you've got. They're all the same. For instance, I'll change it to the flat belly.
Intriguing.
Stats don't change. It doesn't really matter what stats you have on your board. It just kind of goes as is. I quite like this one, of course, and then there's just so many different options you have. Another one that I think is kind of interesting would be wing nuts and step 10s. That's a pretty cool board, I think. You can of course get ridiculous once you start getting enough reputation to get your own parts, build your own. Once you have your own board, you can of course color it and customize it. Currently, because we only have the K-Drive launcher, we can't color our board, so we can't change the colors of it. Once we get our own board, we can color and change all that stuff.
Fell off the back of a
So
loader.
today's
Want a
special,
bargain?
of course,
Today's it.
is effectively the board that Rocky has with her. So you can see the one that she's jumping on every now and then. That's the board that will be the daily special. It's the same as pretty much any other K-Drive you can build stat-wise. It does have a catalyst. It's either a catalyst or a reactor for it when you purchase it. It also comes gilded. Actually, no, forgive me, not gilded, because you can't gild K-Drives. It comes with the ability to name it. which is kind of nice. When you assemble other K drives, you don't have the option to name them. They'll just be called K drives. So yeah, all cool stuff. If you see one here that's really nice, that has, for instance, the parts of a higher rank, such as like Primo, and you don't want to get to that rank, it's probably a pretty good idea to just buy it, because of the amount of time it takes to get to that reputation level. The Glinty is only 5,000. Who's it's like, I think like 20,000. Proper Felon's like 30 or 40,000. Or maybe it's higher than that. From Proper Felon to Primo, it's like 70,000, and then to Logical, it's even more. So it's a lot of reputation that you'd have to get over time. That works pretty much the same for any reputation in Warframe, though. And of course, because reputations have daily standing limits, it takes time to get enough reputation to go through it. So that is pretty much all the vendors that we can currently interact with. But you might notice the way I phrased that. So there is another vendor that you could interact with later on by entering in the secret back room here and not talking with Yuriko. Yuriko has some stuff she'll say here, but it's not important. I'll show you.
We got something in the works. Not ready to talk about it yet, though. You keep doing what you're doing. We'll have something to discuss soon enough. Mark my words. Something big.
So we'll keep doing what we do. I may decide to do bounties in between parts now that I think about it. Same way I would with clearing out the star chart. Just because it's mindless stuff. It's mostly stuff you've seen before, but in the next part I think we'll do a couple bounties on camera just to show it off. You can also talk to Little Duck.
Well, well, well. Another tenno. This ain't my usual line of work, you understand. I'm not from around here, but I've got a fast tractor and I know how to jump a rail. So a new friend in Zeta set me up with all this. Name's Little Duck, fortune hunter, rail agent and the girl your mumsy warned you about. And now, somehow, the local Quill-endorsed purveyor of amps and assorted paraphernalia. So, what'll it be? I deal with people, not machines, mate. Keep your eyes open, matey.
So, Little Duck is a character that was in some of the previous Warframe stuff, but we've never seen her before. She made a comment that she deals with people, not machines. Right now we don't know what that means. We'll learn what it means later. So yeah, if you by chance know what that people versus machine thing refers to, you can find Little Duck over there. In the meantime, though, I think we'll call it a part there. We've talked enough about pretty much everybody here. We spent a good amount of time on the Orvelis, and we've got experienced K-Drives for the first time. Next part, I think we'll do a bounty or two, and then we'll probably start continuing with the quests that we have to do. I may decide to build stuff, or parts, and things of that nature in between as I'm doing stuff, so we can get kit guns and MOAs and whatnot as we go along, and we can also experience the fishing and hunting on the, or preservation, not hunting, on the Orvelis at some point. But all in good time, and until then, goodbye.